Hello there, this is 3-3, solving inequalities by multiplying or dividing. Now once again we're going to start with just one-step inequalities, which are very similar to one-step equations, and talk about how to solve them using multiplication and division. So here's our first example. We have 7x is greater than negative 42. So this is 7 times x, so to solve that I have to divide by 7. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So then I have x is greater than, this is a negative divided by a positive, so it has to be negative 6. On my graph, I go to negative 6. I have an open circle because it's just greater than, and to the right. And that would be it for that one. Alright, now here we have one where we have m divided by 3 is greater than or equal to 2.4. So m is being divided by 3, so to undo that I have to times by 3 on both sides. So on this right side the 3's are going to cancel. I have m, and let's see, we got 12, carry the 1, 7.2 over here on the left side. Now your variable's on the right side. Remember we talked about we can always just flip this over and flip the sign, and that will make it a lot easier for us to graph. So this actually says m is greater than or equal to 7.2. So my graph, let's see, 7 would be about right here, right? So 7.2 closed circle, I'll put it right here, and it's greater than, so I go to the right. Okay? And again, you only have to have 5 numbers on your number line, so don't worry about putting so many of those numbers down. Okay, here's one with a fraction. Now I picked this one just to refresh your memory on what we do when we have a fraction times a variable. We learned this once again when we were doing equations, but just to refresh your memory. So this is 3/4 times r. So we would want to divide by 3/4. Now, if you remember, dividing by 3/4 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to go ahead and just multiply by the reciprocal. Saves me a little time, which we all know is a good thing. So over here I just have r. Over here, remember, if this number is not already a fraction, just put it over 1 and it will make it a fraction. 12 times 4 is 48 over 3. 48 divided by 3 is 16. This is r less than 16. Since it's just less than, I have an open circle, and since it's less than, it goes to the left. Okay? Now, one fancy thing about inequalities that doesn't come up with equations. When we multiply or divide by a negative number, it causes a little bit of an issue. Okay? It makes your inequality not true anymore, which is a bad thing. And I can show you the whole proof of this later, but in the interest of time, if you'll just believe me, it's not good when you have to multiply or divide by a negative number. It kind of messes up the inequality. So in order to fix that problem, we have to reverse the inequality symbol. So I put it here all caps and in red. You want to make sure you have this down. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip your inequality symbol. Okay? Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, flip the inequality symbol. It's very important that you remember that. So let's take a look at a few examples. Here we have negative 12x greater than 84. So this is negative 12 times x. So I have to divide by negative 12. Now notice I'm dividing by a negative number. Therefore, I have to remember I have to flip the inequality sign. Not add an equal to, just flip it. Okay, and then 84 divided by 12, I believe, is 7. And this is a positive divided by a negative, so it's going to be a negative 7. Notice I flipped the sign to become a less than symbol. So if I put my numbers on my graph here, then I have an open circle. It's going to go to the left. So the same as before, same exact procedure, you just have to remember to flip the sign. Here's another one. I have x divided by negative 3 is greater than or equal to negative 8. So it's being divided, so I have to times by negative 3 on both sides. Now once again, I'm timesing by a negative number. Therefore, I have to flip over the sign. Negative times a negative is a positive. And since the variable's on the right side, and that's kind of confusing, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it so that it's easier to read. So this actually says x is less than or equal to 24. Now since it's less than or equal to, I need a closed circle and to the left. Okay? Very important that you remember to flip the sign. And of course, this section also has story problems. So here we have Jill. She has a $20 gift card to an art supply store where 4-ounce tubes of paint are $4.30 after tax. What are the possible numbers of tubes that Jill can buy? So X is going to represent number of tubes, right? So let's define that. Now once again, we're going to write an inequality and solve it. So each tube costs $4.30. So 430 times X has to be less than or equal to $20. So she only has $20, so she can spend no more than $20. So then to solve this, all I'm going to have to do is divide by 430. It's not a negative number, so I don't have to flip the sign. And 20 divided by 430 is 4.65 about if we round. Now does it make sense to you that she couldn't buy 0.65 of a tube? I think the art supply store might get kind of mad if she chopped off part of the tube and tried to buy it. So really, she can only buy 0 tubes if she wants, 1 tube, 2 tubes, 3, or 4 tubes. She can't buy 5 because she'll run out of money. So our answer here would be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And yes, it does matter that you write that out and you don't just write x less than or equal to 4. And if anybody knows why, please tell me tomorrow. Tell me why I can't just write x less than or equal to 4, but in fact I have to actually write out 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, if you know that, tell me tomorrow in class. One more story problem for you. A pitcher holds 128 ounces of juice. What are the possible 10-ounce servings that one pitcher can fill? So X is going to be, probably shouldn't use green on green, the number of servings. Okay, there's 10 ounces per serving, so 10 times X, and that can't be more than 128, so less than or equal to. If it's more than that, our pitcher will overflow. So let's divide by 10, and we get 12.8. Okay? Now, it's okay here that we have a decimal, because we could put part of a serving in there. So we have to put less than or equal to 12.8 servings. And here I don't have to list them out. And again, if you know why I don't have to list them out here, but I had to on the previous one, be sure to let me know tomorrow in class. And that's it for 3-3. See you guys tomorrow.